with a broader topic because the topic for this is what is money? So ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome the moderator, Edith Yeung, who is Proof of Capital Managing Partner. Welcome. And now can we also welcome Charlie Lee, Litecoin creator. And lastly, again, Samson Mow, you should be really familiar with him. He was on stage earlier today too. Blockstream CSO. Okay, so now the fireside chat may begin.
So this is testing. Is it working? Wow, Charlie, seems like you have some fan club over there clapping for you. So I know like we're almost towards the end, and this is the most exciting fireside chat for the whole conference.
Look at everyone coming here to watch us talk.
Absolutely, and this is going to be a Litecoin versus Bitcoin debate, right?
Really?
Sure, like this morning.
Okay, let's get started.
Can we beat the number of times people say shitcoin on this in this panel?
I can say it a few times. Shitcoin, shitcoin, shitcoin.
we will do that game later.
Okay.
How about we start with the title of this? What is money? So, Charlie, Samson, what is your definition of money?
Well, Google says that money is no. I think money is just something you can use to transact and store value. Like there's that flowchart of how money evolves. It's the store of value, medium of exchange, unit of account. And I think money is when those three things are all present.
But it's basically like you have to agree on something that has value, right? So if everyone can't agree on this thing having value, then you can't really use it for money, right? So money is something that has value that everyone agrees on, and something that you can easily exchange between parties to pay for things. I mean, there's different properties of money, right? What makes money good? There's properties like it's durable. Like if people have used seashells for money previously, and if they break, then can't be really good money when you use seashells, right?
Yep.
Or that's easily divisible, right? Things like that. There's different properties that makes money real good money. And I guess over the years we've used gold as money because it fulfilled a lot of the properties of good money.
And so one of the biggest debate people always sort of saying, Bitcoin is the gold for cryptocurrency, and of course Litecoin is sort of the silver, which you sort of coined it. But there's always this argument between store value versus payment. What do you guys think about that, and which on this spectrum?
I think Bitcoin and Litecoin can be both, right? It's not just one thing. It's not just a store value or a payment. It can be both store value and a good means of payment. Some would say like people argue like today Bitcoin is a better store of value. It's not good for payments. Maybe that is true today, but things change over time. Lightning Network is being developed, and I think it's going to become a good means of payment in the future. But I think what's important is that what cryptocurrency brings is the decentralization, which like the censorship resistant. It's important for store of money, for store of value.
So I think this discussion always kind of trends towards, is it this or that? Is it a store of value or a medium of exchange? But as we talked about before, I think money has to be all three things. And there's all the different properties of money too, like durability, like Charlie mentioned. But without Bitcoin storing value, you can't really use it to exchange, right? If I make my own token and it has no value, no one's going to take it, even if it's a great medium of exchange. So you can't really just say it's one or the other, but I think we tend towards making statements like Bitcoin is store of value first, because that is the most important part. Without stored value and accumulation of value, you can't really exchange it for anything, and you definitely cannot be a unit of account.
So what do you guys think about Facebook announcement on launching Libra? Do you think it's a good thing, bad thing, or is it even necessary?
Well, I think it's not really a good or bad thing. There's good or bad parts to it. It'll definitely bring about awareness of cryptocurrency, but I don't even think it's really a cryptocurrency. It's just a digital.
It's not, right?
Yeah, it's a digital currency. It's Facebook Credits 2.0, and it's centralized. It's very centralized. I mean, they've structured it in such a way that nobody can really become a member unless they're really ready to pony up a lot of cash to run a validator node. The wallet out the gate is KYC'd. They've said a lot of things, like it's going to become decentralized over time, but the way it's structured now, it's very hard to see it becoming anything permissionless down the road.
Well, it's centralized. It doesn't really compete with Bitcoin or Litecoin. I mean, in a sense, it's a stable coin, right? It's backed by a basket of currencies. I think it's interesting that they're trying to tackle like the open API, the kind of the programmable money part of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be quite interesting. Maybe it'll compete with Ethereum in terms of having a
Probably going to compete
centralized.
with Ripple.
What's that?
It'll probably compete with Ripple more.
It will compete with Ripple, compete with Ethereum being a centralized smart contract platform versus a decentralized one.
Yep.
Do we really need to a decentralized one because that's inefficient and it costs more money?
Yep.
Or is the centralized one where people just trust Facebook or even Google or Amazon for their for smart contracts, if that's good enough? We don't know right now, but I think it'll be very interesting. It'll definitely bring more people into this space. Facebook has what, 2 billion users. So if like a small percentage of those users hear about or start using Libra and hear about Bitcoin, Litecoin, and cryptocurrencies, maybe they'll come into this space.
Yeah, and in some way, I think sort of coming from so the web 1.0, 2.0 world, you see more and more of maybe like even Google, Facebook, Amazon, and of course in some way WeChat Pay, Alipay have their own, had their whole payment for a long time. So do you guys think that's more as a prediction? Do you see other internet platforms or giants will follow Facebook's suit?
Facebook's consortium is pretty big right now. I mean, they have all the credit cards, payment processors. They have PayPal. It'd be hard to launch a competing thing on this scale, but who knows? I mean, it's not even out the door yet, and the U.S. government is saying shut it down. So maybe it won't even launch, and then maybe JPM coin will take the spotlight and be dominant.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be cool if I do see other like tech giants coming in. I think Google and Amazon definitely missed the boat on this one. I was at Google for a while, and they weren't really interested in doing anything cryptocurrency related. But what Facebook is doing is definitely interesting. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if people at Google and Amazon right now are scrambling to figure out what their answer is to the Facebook Libra coin.
But I think Facebook is kind of just trying to play catch up with, say, WeChat, right? If you look at their product roadmap, they've kind of been evolving towards more like WeChat than anything else. And WeChat, a really strong component of it is payments. So they kind of need that element. And I think launching Libra is clever because they can market it as the other hot thing, which is cryptocurrency, even though it's not.
Yeah, and in many ways, if you think about all the data privacy scrutiny that Facebook and Google been getting, and in many ways they sort of need another way out in terms of generating revenue, which is super interesting to see.
Well, I don't think Libra is supposed to be generating revenue. It's more of a defensive moat, right? They need people to be locked into their ecosystem, and they can monetize in other ways, like user data potentially, or even ads in their wallet.
So in that sense, if it is up to you guys to sort of encourage and advise some of these big platforms, and let's say, Charlie, if Google come back to you and say, hey, I want to work with you on Litecoin as the main currency for them, like how would you respond?
He'd be so happy.
I definitely talk to them about it. Yeah, I'd be interested in helping them out.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so your advice for them is, hey, to forget about another token. The right way is actually either use Bitcoin or Litecoin.
Yeah, I mean, I think my in this space, like what I'm excited about is cryptocurrency, right? It's a new form of money, some form of money that we've previously never seen before, right? And like a lot of these blockchain projects don't excite me because it's nothing new, right? Whereas Bitcoin, Litecoin is something new, right? It's decentralized cryptocurrency. So definitely, there's no reason to create a token just for the sake of creating a token or a coin. Definitely, if they want to build on top of like the Bitcoin ecosystem, do that.
So I have to ask, what do you guys think about Ripple? All right, that's the answer.
The coin or the company?
Same thing, isn't it?
Not anymore.
Because they changed the logo, right?
All right, I think their silence sort of answered that. So switch topic a bit. We talk a little bit about what some of these internet giants are doing and sort of approach and sort of copying what WeChat and Tencent is doing. What do you guys think about the role of government? So I saw the other day that India passing a law that literally will imprison if you are mining or own cryptocurrency for 10 years. That's kind of crazy, right? What do you guys think?
I think it was just tabled. It wasn't really anything serious. Someone just wrote something and tabled it.
It's a proposal, right?
It's a proposal, yeah.
It is pretty crazy, right? It's something that is definitely on my mind. Like if all the countries in the world came together or all decide that cryptocurrency is bad because it's good for money laundering and it's good for buying drugs, there's nothing good about it, and they all came and banned it and made it so that if you use it, it'll put you in jail, then that will definitely hinder adoption, right? It won't kill it. Just like war on drug is not killing drugs, but it's not good, right?
Yeah.
But I don't see that happening. Maybe one country might do it. I mean, China did ban like Bitcoin exchanges. If India does indeed like ban Bitcoin or cryptocurrency usage and put people in jail for that, that would suck. But it won't kill cryptocurrency.
Well, I think there's a danger too to banning something outright, because if you ban something and you can't enforce it, then you just look kind of incompetent. So, I mean, if some country did try to ban cryptocurrency, they pretty much fail, and that would just make it stronger.
So in that sense, do you guys see any government get this right at all? What would your advice for government in general?
Well, in general, governments are very inefficient and ineffective. Like, they'll tax more and take more money or print more money, but they never will try to become more effective or downsize. If you're looking for a good example, I would put Switzerland up there, right? They actually remove taxes that are not needed. They'll issue a tax specifically for something like road improvements, and they'll tax you for a specific purpose. Once that purpose is fulfilled, then they'll cancel that tax. But generally speaking, most governments just want to keep spending. It's kind of like when you're budgeting for a big corporation. If you don't budget enough this year, you don't spend it, then you don't get that budget next year. So I think it's important to continue down this road we're on, where we're separating money and state. It's kind of a default. I think for the US, the Fed was able to mint coins. That was their mandate, right? And it just kind of evolved over time that they can print money and do quantitative easing. And it's not like it's mandated that they're able to control the monetary supply, but that's in effect what we have today. But with something like Bitcoin, we can start to separate that and make it more fair for everyone.
Bitcoin definitely brings kind of the freedom of money, right? So it brings power back to the people, monetary power. I think that's important. I definitely think the government should stay out of the way. So separation of state and money. Yeah. I think that's good.
So your advice is get out of the way or look at what Switzerland is doing.
Well, a lot of regulation is often heavy-handed, and it's done under the guise of protecting the people, right? But how effective is it at protecting the people if there's a financial crisis? So it's like selective protection in areas that may benefit some groups, not the whole.
So let's switch topic. We talked a little bit about governments and internet companies. What do you guys think about the bank? Like, all the banks are scared. You saw JP Morgan launch JPM coins, and in some form it's sort of like a Ripple. Do you think banks play a role at all in this whole thing? And especially companies like Fidelity, they actually announced that they're going to provide custody solution for Bitcoin, I think about 6 months ago. And you see more like Goldman invested in BitGo. Those are all interesting movement. What do you guys think about these big banks and what they're doing?
I think if you see like cryptocurrency as just a different kind of asset class, different kind of money, right? Banks play a role in money, right? So they can they should let you create cryptocurrency accounts, right? They should, and if you, the beauty of like cryptocurrency is you can choose to store your coins yourself, right? Self-sovereignty, or you can choose to put it on exchanges or put it at a bank, right? And some people who aren't tech savvy enough today to to store your currencies, it might make sense for them to store it in the bank. So I think banks should do that, right? Should start. It'd be cool if banks start letting people put their cryptocurrencies in the bank.
So I agree with Charlie. I think there is a role for an ordinary bank, so people can use them to store keys or something. It's really just what role do they want to play in the ecosystem. If your customers want to have gold or store things in a security deposit box and you don't offer that option, then you kind of put yourself out of a job. But if you're willing to participate and get involved, I think like Fidelity is a really good example. They're very forward thinking. Then definitely there's a role for that. But overall, I mean, you can't expect that everyone in the world is going to manage their own private keys. There's going to be people that want some type of custody service. They're not that technical, or they have a risk aversion to managing something themselves, because it is a very foreign concept where you have to actually deal with your own private keys. Like, you never have to do that. Like, I think our generation is the first that has had to deal with that in a long time. Maybe 50 years, 75 years ago, maybe people had to self-custody gold. But for a long time, you just kind of trust that the bank has your money and it's all good.
It's definitely a different way of thinking, right? Yeah, we've never ever had to kind of protect your own money before. Or I mean, I guess, but like you said, right? But now these days, people were born into this this current system where the fiat currency system, where if you yeah, like you're protected, right? The banks, like there's the federal government will protect your money for you, so there's no risk in losing money. Whereas in the gold system, you can potentially lose your money if you have it stored in gold, like under your mattress or something. But with cryptocurrency, it's scary for a lot of people. That's why people use like Coinbase or other exchanges to store their coins, because they can't do it well themselves and they trust a third party. So there's definitely room for third parties to do a better job at storing people's funds. And this is something that, as an industry, we need to get better at, right? Better hard wallet solutions, better custody solutions for people who just aren't good enough to do it themselves.
So we sort of touched on the definition of money. Your advice for governments to stay out of the way, or maybe look at what Switzerland is doing, the role that internet companies play, and super interesting to see Libra. And then it's a good thing to see banks, sort of helping to protect private keys and provide custody solutions. So let's switch topic a bit and look at how about the privacy. Been a big topic, and how's that going, like, in terms of development?
I think talking about like privacy, I think privacy and fungibility go hand in hand. It's one of the features of money. Fungibility is one of the features of money that is missing from Bitcoin and Litecoin. And by fungibility, I mean that each Bitcoin or each Litecoin is equal to every other Litecoin, right? So for example, when I go to the store, I pull out my wallet and spend. I don't have to choose which $20 bill to pull out to pay, because they're exactly the same in terms of fungibility. Whereas today, if you're using a Bitcoin wallet, you may want to choose which Bitcoin input to pay, because one of them might be big, right? You might have bought a bunch of Bitcoins off an exchange, and you may not want your friend to know how much money you have. So you have to pick and choose, and that's not a good property of money, right? Money should be fungible. Every gold coin or every Bitcoin should be equal to every other coin. And privacy is a requirement for Bitcoin and Litecoin to be fungible. Because without privacy, then you have all the history of the coin, and the recipient can see the history and treat you differently based off of which coin you send them. So we've seen stories about people's Coinbase account getting shut down because they sent coins from a darknet marketplace straight to Coinbase, and Coinbase noticed that and decided they can't service this customer, and that's just not good money, right? So I think this is something that we need to tackle, making Bitcoin and Litecoin more fungible, and i.e. more private.
I think the trend is generally moving towards more privacy. So the Lightning Network helps with this. So Lightning Network is the layer 2 scaling solution for Bitcoin, for payments, microtransactions, but because it's off-chain and you're transacting, routing through channels, you actually have better privacy. You actually don't need to, you can't actually do any analysis on it because it's off-chain. So I might open a channel with Charlie and we might transact 3 or 4 times and we settle, but you don't know what we did at the end. And it's even better when you're routing through other nodes in the network. But there's a lot of stuff coming down the road. I think Wasabi Wallet is out in force now, and a lot of people are starting to mix coins. We have a PayJoin or P2EP, which is supposed to help with privacy by making it harder for blockchain analysis to happen. But I think it is important, and we need to keep moving in that direction of better privacy.
And so Samson, for your background, which is what do you see in Blockstream and Blockstream's role for Bitcoin?
So we're a Bitcoin infrastructure company, and we generally try to do things that make Bitcoin more robust or more resilient. So you could say Blockstream augments Bitcoin. We launched the satellite service to broadcast blocks to prevent network splits. We have privacy-preserving tech like the Block Explorer. We have Green Wallet, which is really good, secure, robust. But we try to do things, in addition to contributing code, we try to do things around the ecosystem around Bitcoin to make it more resilient.
Got it. So I noticed we actually have a few minutes, more than I expected. So if you guys have any question, maybe we have time for a couple of questions, and then we're gonna go play a game after that. So anybody, I can't really see you, but hands up if you have any questions. I can't see anything. Or maybe you can just stand up. Oh, you guys are really shy. Nobody have any question whatsoever? All right, so, oh, there is one. Yeah, name, company, and then I will repeat your question.
We'll give you a microphone.
Oh. Coming.
Hi, guys. I talked with Charlie yesterday. Nice to see you again. Enjoying the show. Hope everyone's having a good time. I just want to say, I think it's really important this point in history where we've got a situation, kind of a perfect storm for Bitcoin next year with a halvening, yeah, and quantitative easing. And a lot of the focus I think that everyone misses is that, not everyone, but many people, is that instead of improving these massive businesses like Binance and stuff, which is cool, but instead educating the populace and the common man, the layman's missing out on this whole thing. It's being missed, and it's going to be further missed, and we're just going to produce this ever-expanding, unavoidable pyramid in which I think we should avoid. And how to avoid that is through education, not rent-seeking. And the fellas on stage aren't rent-seeking at all. They're heroes of mine, I want to say. But my interest in this is getting it to the layman before it's too expensive to do so. Thanks.
So I guess from a user adoption, mass user adoption, education side of things.
Needs to have education, or the common man who's stressing to pay rent and work and food, and the monopolies that we experience today in the world are typically nefarious. Obviously, the banking history funded every world war and always has, and it just takes a little research to know that. And we have a very real chance to change history right now and make it fantastic for the entire world, but they need to be educated. Instead of the speakers earlier, they're talking about onboarding people and holding those people's private keys. So in essence, they're gonna make all the, as they say, air quotes, mad gains on these tokens while their clients just get paid a small interest rate. And I think we're trying to avoid all that. We're trying to empower the world, and then we can all, it's just gonna be fantastic, the possibility here. Mother Bitcoin has, in a very real way, the potential to change the world. So instead of focusing on how to make Binance more powerful, let's, and I'm not referring to the people here, I'm just referring to this space in general. We need to let the common man know about what's coming. And in that way, we can make the world a better place.
So I agree with your points. I think education is a big component, and teaching people what Bitcoin is a major goal that everyone should have. It's hard for people to understand, I think, what Bitcoin is, because it is very complicated. You have to teach them many things on many different levels. Like, first of all, what is money? What does it mean to manage your own keys? Why decentralization matters and how we achieve that, and how Bitcoin is secured, how you participate in the network. There's just a lot of things that people need to learn. But ultimately, it's really hard to make people want it. I think there's two points in time when you can have Bitcoin. One is when you want to have Bitcoin, and one is when you need to have Bitcoin, like post-hyper-Bitcoinization, when there is no choice. It's probably better now for people to get in early, but it is a tech, and there's always going to be early adopters and late adopters. You can't really force people to come on board. It's just like you can't force people to understand it. And I think for Bitcoin, it's kind of also challenging too, because it behaves a lot like an asset. And most people in the world don't have savings, much less an investment in something like gold.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with what Samson said. Yeah, so I think cryptocurrency is inevitable. I think it's going to take some time, and eventually everyone will be using it in one form or another, right? They may not even realize it, and we're just here to help make that happen. But
That's why we make magical crypto.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's like you said, it's a complicated topic, right? So, I mean, a lot of people in this industry itself don't really understand what Bitcoin is. Yeah. So, but it will happen.
Okay, so I want to play a quick game before we end. This is something that you don't really have to say anything, and I'm going to just say the name of the token. All you need to do is thumbs up and down. All right, let's start.
Okay.
How about Ripple? Okay. Stellar. Ethereum.
This is easy.
Particle.
What?
What? Okay. Litecoin. What?
What? I'm just returning the favor.
And
I'm
last
returning the
but
favor.
not least, Bitcoin.
I'm just kidding.
Okay.
I'll give Litecoin a thumbs up. Okay.
All right. With that, final thoughts. So thank you for all your input and silence. In order to get real mass adoption of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, what's your grand vision? Any advice? And Charlie, I heard you have an announcement to make.
So what was your question first?
The vision, like if you have a magic wand
Mm-hmm.
and you can make whatever happen for true adoption of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, what would you like to see happen?
I'll go first. Yeah. So I think it has to be organic. If you want to do it the magic wand way, then that's Libra. You wave the magic wand and you have this cryptocurrency now, and you have several wealthy tech companies helping you to market and push it. But for a world-changing new form of money like Bitcoin, it has to be organic. It has to grow organically. There has to be that educational process. Like everything we've gone through from inception till now is just part of that journey, right? We had to go through the scaling debate. We had to have people scream about babies dying. We had to had people say we need to spend Bitcoin on coffee. We had to have people say we need to fork it and increase the block size. Otherwise, if we don't do that, then people don't learn. And I think there's still much more. There's like a long, long road ahead of us until everyone understands what Bitcoin is and it becomes, the new financial system.
Thank you, sir.
I think if I can magically change one thing, which would be to make Bitcoin cryptocurrency easy to use. Right? I think we have a huge user experience problem where using a Bitcoin wallet is hard. Securing your own coins, hardware wallets are still really hard to use, and it's just very hard for people to get into this space when the user experience is so bad, right? So that's the one thing I would change if I can magically change something, which is to make everything easier to use.
And with that, on the Litecoin side, you're working on something new.
Yeah. So Yeah, I'd like to make an announcement today. So, I was talking to Tyler Spalding, Flex's CEO, just yesterday, and he told me that the Flexa spend app starting today will support Litecoin. And this is an app where actually it makes things easy to use, right? You can use Litecoin, Bitcoin to spend on at major markets, major retailers in the US, like Nordstrom, GameStop, and all the major movie theaters, for example, and just tons of other stores. And this is really important, right? Being able to spend your coin anywhere, spend your money anywhere is really important. And this is something I'm always pushing for adoption. And currently, starting today, you can download the iOS app of Spend, SPEDN, and you can use it in the US. They're going to start supporting international countries next month. And I think in a couple of weeks, they're going to have an Android app. And I think things like this really push for adoption. It really helps push cryptocurrency forward because it makes people be able to spend their coins. And you want to be able to spend your money everywhere.
Cool. So let me repeat it, SPEDN.
Yes.
Okay, great. Everybody should download it.
You should go and download it and try it out.
Awesome.
But I think you would need a invite code today. So on Twitter, send a message to Litecoin Foundation, LTC Foundation, and we'll give you an invite code.
Awesome. I will definitely tweet that. Thank you so much, guys, for your thoughts, and that will be end of our panel. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.